We are back on KindaSound with my very good friend, Madan Mohan. How are you, Madan?
Very good, thanks, Giles. It's nice to hear you again.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you and great to have you back on KindaSound, friend of the show. And we've just had a very special time, haven't we? And a wonderful time to launch projects that you told me about a few months ago. And you've been up to some things, haven't you? Spreading the word, spreading the word of the Lord's blessed name. So just give us a little update, mate. Well, just tell us what this special day was, first of all.
Well, on the Vedic calendar, as you know, I follow the Vedic calendar, which is moon based. So it basically means, say, if you're born on the full moon, that you'll celebrate your birthday on the full moon. That doesn't work with the Gregorian calendar. So it's all centered around the lunar cycles. So in one sense, it's a more accurate calendar. So there's one special day every year, and it's called Akshaya Tritiya, and it's just gone by, and it was on April the 30th, Wednesday, April the 30th. And that is the most auspicious day of the year for launching any kind of new project. Practically speaking, anything that you do that's beneficial, it's practically guaranteed to succeed. Now, although this happens every year, there was some special astrological configuration this year that gave it extra potency. I'm not an astrologer, but I can tell you stuff happened straight away. I started 6 projects. They're things
Six.
that I've been working on for a long time,
Yep.
but I figured it would give them all impetus to make it like an official launch, April the 30th, Akshaya Tritiya.
Yep.
So it's centered around sacred chanting, the sacred sites, the perpetual choirs, walking the song lines. For me, Krishna Consciousness, that's been my life for over 40 years. Um, but like my guru said, there's only one religion, that's love and affection. So they asked Jesus, what are the most important commandments? And he basically love God and love each other. You know, so and we're all by nature little sparks of God. So anyway, I'm very, very excited. Um, I had a realization today. You're very familiar with the circle of perpetual choirs, the Western Circle. I mean, I know that you live right out in the east, in the middle of the Eastern Circle, and we've been to the centre of that one together. Well, somebody doused the Western Circle, and he wrote a book. I just happened to have the interconnectedness of all things.
Yeah, just a
If
little
you,
shout out for John Gibson 40.
yeah, and what he successfully doused
Mm.
um, was 10 spokes radiating out from Ragged Stone Hill in the Malvern Hills, uh, within a radius about 125 miles wide, um, and like energy, this type of energy that he was dousing runs in a sort of serpentine pattern. And he followed these 10 spokes all across the country and then round the radius of the circle. And I think he joined, if I remember correctly, about over 200 churches together. So what that tells us is that the churches were built over pre-Christian existing patterns of energy that are in the earth.
Yep.
Now, something on this scale, it's so big, it's way beyond any kind of human um, surveying capability. This is simply tuning in to the geometric patterns that are inherent in the earth.
Yep.
This is
Beautiful.
what Chris Street, our good friend Chris Street,
Yes.
who just departed recently, he got me into all this stuff. I read his book, Earth Stars, back in the 90s. And uh, what it showed to me is that God's creation can be um, demonstrated in sacred geometry. So he called the Earth star pattern actually the matrix of creation.
Yep.
So Now, one thing that John Gibson Forty found when he was dowsing the churches, because he was able to not only douse the length of the lines, he was able to douse the width of these energy lines. So he doused on a Saturday at a church in Malvern. The line was about 30 feet wide.
Yeah.
Well, after the Sunday, after there'd been a church service and people singing and praising the Lord, he doused the line again, and I think it was 210 feet wide.
That's right. Yeah,
it had increased sevenfold.
Yeah.
Just by now, if you imagine the potency of those 200 plus churches, people just singing the praises of the Lord, singing God's holy names, which are universal. They don't belong to any single one religion.
Yeah.
The effect of that is it creates a sense of harmony within the individual. It connects us with the earth, and it connects all of us with God in a very deep and profound way. So sound is the most fundamental potency. So we can't see God through these material eyes, but we can see him through our ears in the form of the holy name. Basically, he's fully present, 100% present in the form of that sound vibration, which is his holy name, which is why, you and I make a habit of chanting God's holy names. I've been chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare for over 40 years.
Yeah.
I was initiated into that by a master, an acknowledged master, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. He was the successor to Swami Prabhupada, who brought the whole thing over from India in the 60s. Now, when they chant it, when people at that level chant it, they actually enter the spiritual world. They actually have one foot in the spiritual world. So there's different gradations of the chanting, different qualities. At my stage, I'm, even after 40 years, still very much a neophyte. But well,
I think you're a humble man, to be perfectly honest. I think you're very humble. You're a great man, and I think that is part of it, isn't it? It's humility is part of the greatness. And I just want to say that the KindaSounders out there, you are a great man. You are a wise man. You're a bard, and you've taught me so much. You've shared so much. I mean, the knowledge of the matrix of creation, of these sacred geometries of the perpetual choirs, very much down to you. It's very much down to you and your efforts over decades. So I just want to, because you're not going to big yourself up, but I'm going to big you up.
Okay. What I wanted to say was there's a big difference between master and disciple.
Yep.
Now the master is actually coming from the spiritual world. Krishna actually says in Bhagavad Gita, the guru, the spiritual master, this is me. This is how I manifest in the world. I will come to you in the form of a human being.
Yeah.
I may look like an ordinary person, but actually the spiritual master, the genuine spiritual master, they're extremely rare.
Yep.
So when my Gurudev's chanting and meditating, he's actually with Krishna in the spiritual world. Now, I haven't reached that point, Giles.
No, well, that's fair enough. I mean, we'll accept that.
So graduation in this school means that you realize your Siddha Swarup. Everyone has an eternal spiritual form, everyone, but it's in seed form.
Yep.
And that seed is watered and nurtured and grows. It sprouts, and 2 leaves sprout. This is described in Sanskrit. The first 2 leaves are described as Kleshagni and Shubhadar. Kleshagni means all inauspicious qualities begin to disappear, and Shubhadar means all auspiciousness, and I'm still aspiring for that stage, and that's just the first 2 leaves sprouting. This is a very big thing, many lifetimes to realize your eternal spirit. It's not a cheap thing. Believe and be saved is all very well, and I was raised with that, and no disrespect for it, that's wonderful, but that's a basic faith, and that's the basis of yeah, Christianity. I was raised Baptist, and that's wonderful. But Jesus was actually teaching more than that. And I recently read a book called The Enlightened Jesus, and this is referred to throughout the Bible. Paul has a lot more to say than Jesus. He has 30,000 words in the New Testament. Jesus only gets 1,500 words. So Paul is kind of shouting down Jesus 20-1. They were slightly different philosophies, actually, but Jesus was initiating people into what was called the mystery of the kingdom of heaven. This is the Gnostic experiential side. It's not just believe that when you die, you're going to go to heaven. No, it's enter this type of meditation, follow this discipline. Like when a rich man came to Jesus and said, "Oh, can you save me?" Well, Jesus said, "Yeah, give up all your wealth and sell everything you've got and come and join our group, and you can be initiated into this deeper meditation." His group was like the Essenes. What they were practicing was what we call Gnosticism. Well, unfortunately, that was all declared a heresy in the 2nd century by Bishop Irenaeus of Lyon, and the church has stayed with that ever since. Yeah. The church didn't consider it was basically good for business if the congregation was starting to independently meditate and connect with God. Well, hang on, if I can sit at home and connect with God through my practice, what do I need the church for?
Yeah, man.
And the church said, no, we're not. That's a heresy. That's a heresy. Not coming to the church, and So anyway, it's we know the history, and it's not anything terrible. It's just the nature of this world. Yeah. It's said that there are 2 planes of existence. The upper world is the plane of dedication. Everyone up there loves each other. Everyone is completely concerned with service and other people's happiness. Down here, the plane of exploitation. Wow. Not quite like that. We're all climbing over each other. How can I use you? What can I get out of you? It's like we're looking for an advantage. We're looking for an angle all the time. So we have to learn how to serve. And it's, Krishna says, right at the end of Bhagavad Gita, he says, abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender unto me. And don't worry, I'll protect you from all sinful reaction. So surrender is where we want to go. Yeah. And then surrender is the gateway to bhakti, and bhakti means devotional service. And then you climb that ladder, and then you gradually realize your eternal. So you can serve. It's said that everyone has a place in Krishna's home village. So there's the aspect of the spiritual world where God reigns as king, but above that, his happy place is where he lives in a village and nobody's bothered about him being God. Yeah. He's either, he's my master, I just live in his house and I look after his stuff and, iron his clothes, whatever. And there's that's called Dasya Ras, a servant mood. But then there's Sakya Ras, friendship mood. That's high. Yeah. You're equal. You're equal with the Lord. You're just mates. You just go run out in the forest, play together. Yeah. You wrestle. He knocks you to the ground. You knock him to the ground. You win some, you lose some. Yeah. And above that is Vatsalya Ras. This is a mood of parenthood. So you can be like a mother, father, uncle, elder, and you can tell him off. You behave, Krishna, behave yourself. And he respects his elders. And above that is conjugal ras, Madhurya ras. This is Krishna's lovers, the gopis. Mm. And the entire Vedas praise these young cowherd maidens of his village. He's a cowherder, and they're young girls in the village. They're praised throughout the Vedas as the topmost devotees in existence. Wow. There's millions of them, countless, we can't even imagine. Wow. And among all of those, the topmost gopi is his female half, Radharani. Yes, Radharani. And through service, it's not through being God that the highest happiness is experienced. It's through serving God. Yes. And the type of service that he derives the most pleasure from is that mood of service, which he is subordinate to. He basically likes to be controlled by the love of his devotees. Now, that's an extraordinary thing. It's extraordinary. So one time, this happens within the vast time scales of the Vedas. We're talking a day of Brahma is 1,000 cycles of the 4 yugas. We're talking 8.64 billion years. So there's 1,000 Kali yugas, 1,000 cycles of yugas. So
Interesting, isn't it, as well, that 864, it's half of 432.
oh, absolutely,
We
absolutely.
do like a bit of that, don't we?
864 is what is it? The diameter of the sun, isn't it? I
That's right.
believe
Yeah, it's all connected.
864,000 miles.
Love it.
Well, and they all connect up, funnily enough, don't they? The diameter of the Earth, the diameter of the moon, and the diameter of the sun. I, now, what is it? If you just reduce them to whole numbers, you'd be talking 3, 11, and 1,200.
Yeah.
If you multiplied those numbers by 360, you would get the radius of the moon, the radius of the Earth, and the radius of the sun. I mean, that's pretty mind-blowing.
It's a
Anyway,
beautiful world, isn't it? Sorry, keep
back
going,
to
keep going.
back to Radharani.
Radharani.
So once in every Kali Yuga, and there's 1,000 Kali Yugas in a day of Brahma, Krishna incarnates in the form of his holy name. But once in every 1,000 Kali Yugas, this is a special Yuga, and this is the one we're in. It's called the Dan Yuga or the Prem Yuga. He wants to taste the happiness. Krishna thinks, by tasting the sweetness of my form, qualities, and pastimes, what kind of happiness does Srimati Radharani feel? I cannot realize this. I want to realize these 3 things: the glory of her love, the qualities in me that she alone relishes, and the extent of her happiness. These are the primary internal reasons why Krishna came in the form of Satinandana Gaurahari. I read that straight off my calendar with my Gurudev on there. That's a direct quote from him. This is Lord Chaitanya. So Krishna came 5,000 years ago. He spoke Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield.
Yeah.
But when he wanted to experience those things, that happiness, he came again just 500 years ago, 1486 to 1534. So who was his contemporary at the time in England, you know? Who was on the throne during that time? Big fella, lots of wives.
Yeah, there we go.
Henry VIII.
Yeah.
Henry VIII was on the throne in Britain while Lord Chaitanya was experiencing ecstasy. But when Krishna came, he said, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So, you know, however you approached him, he would reward you, you know, in proportion to your degree of surrender. But when he came in the mood of Radharani, she's millions of times more blissful than him, and she's like the divine mother.
Yeah.
She just says, just have this pure love. I just want you to have it. Chant the holy name and just have it.
Yeah.
And devotees, the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, this is Krishna and Radharani combined, they would just be knocking on the door of everyone saying, take this thing, take the holy name, and enter bliss.
Yeah.
You know, and if people didn't answer their front door, they go around the door and bang on the back door and, you know, shout through the window, just take it.
Yeah.
This is why the Hare Krishna devotees chant out on the street, because it purifies the atmosphere.
Yes.
Now we think about environmental pollution. My Gurudev said the number one pollutant is sound pollution.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is polluted with so much nonsense sound.
Yeah.
So back in 2011, I went to Stonehenge, and I this was an extraordinary coincidence. Very lucky to get the sunrise at Stonehenge. You very rarely see the sunrise, but the sun rose. I was being videoed as I was speaking a poem about reclaiming the airwaves from the BBC.
Yeah.
You know, they're and as we know from Chris Street, BBC Broadcasting House is dead in the centre of the 400 square mile Earth Energy Mandala, which is the London Earth Star. And they know all about it, but they never talk about it. No. They're just simply using it.
Some of them
It's an instrument because you have control of a nation if you have control of the airwaves, basically.
Yeah.
one of our great teachers said that you haven't successfully invaded another country until you've got their TV and radio stations, basically.
That's
When
right.
you've got that, you've got everyone's. So
And
anyway,
we've got KindaSound.
exactly.
We're broadcasting the kindness frequency.
So I was reading this poem about reclaiming the airwaves from the BBC, and while I was reading it, the BBC came and filmed me
I just turn up.
and
You couldn't make it up.
included it in a
Yeah,
documentary about
yeah,
ancient Britain.
yeah,
Now, the sound wasn't there; it was only a 5 second thing, but it was
yeah.
just one of those wonderful synchronicities.
It's beautiful, mate.
And yeah, I was wearing my kind of poncho that I like to wear to
Yeah, yeah.
festivals and Stonehenge. It's just a trademark, really. And
It is.
I had my staff,
Yeah,
and it's just a tradition,
beautiful.
and people, all these different people that turn up at Stonehenge with staffs
Yeah,
and sticks and various things. And I remember people at the entrance saying, "What are you people doing with these sticks?"
yeah.
And some wag said, "Oh, it's a staff meeting." So
Ah,
there you go.
there you go. Boom, boom.
It's like there's a certain magic about carrying a staff. And when I go out chanting in the mornings around the block, a 5 mile walk, I carry it with me
Yeah,
because people will stop and say, "What's that for?" And I'll say, "It's magic." And I said, "What are you
yeah,
talking about, magic?" I said, "Well, it brings people over to speak to me." And they say, "Oh, yeah." And all of a
yeah.
sudden, they've shifted into like a
Beautiful.
magical kind of, I haven't done anything. It's the stick. It's the
Well,
power of the stick.
well, it's the power of the stick, isn't it? And we've seen that throughout history, haven't they? The sacred staff, I suppose, the pillar of the spine, the spinal energies going up to heaven and connecting to the earths.
Absolutely.
Absolutely beautiful. So, where can people see you this year? Because I know you've got some exciting news that you are going to be
Well,
sharing some sacred.
I've been invited to give a workshop. I, it's there's a festival going on. It's quite near the centre of the
Yeah,
Circle of Choirs. It's called the Mab Fest.
Madfest. Now, what are the dates of that? If people want to come and see you,
18th to 20th of July.
yep, Madfest.
It's only a small festival. It's only like 500 max. That's licensing conditions. But I've invited Rohini Nandan. He's a famous Prabhupada disciple. He's had a tent called Radha's Grove
Mm,
at Glastonbury Festival. 20 times
yes,
he's been to Glastonbury. It's
yes,
famous.
that's right. Yes,
Anyone can come there and simply chant.
chanting.
So yeah,
Beautiful. Madfest.
So
So,
that's the idea, is to do a bit of preaching, and they want me to talk about
yeah,
the circle of choirs and
wonderful.
John Gibson's 40s work and how all the
Yeah,
churches connect up, and how the
wonderful.
chanting, not only increases the energy of the lines, it increases your own personal energy and connects you in a very deep way with the Lord, but also in a very tangible way. You can feel these things.
You really can feel these things, can't you? And I think we're living in this age now of the awakening of knowledge of the power of sound healing and chanting. But do you know, in my travels, when I talk about the perpetual choirs, it's amazing how still few people have heard it, how few people have the knowledge of the perpetual choirs. It's still, despite my efforts, of making 3 albums and touring the world, and your efforts of spreading about it. I mean, John Gibson 40, bless him, that book that you hold in your hands now, I don't know if it has been reprinted. I know there were efforts to get it reprinted, and hopefully it will be reprinted, because the last time I looked, a copy of that was worth £800, because once he'd published it, a week after that he had a stroke, and I don't know if he's alive, or if he's moved on his journey like Chris Street.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
was
but
wondering about getting in touch with him, wondering if he wanted to come along and add
I don't.
something. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I don't think he's a well man if he's alive, but God bless him, and well done for his efforts in spreading the work on the perpetual choirs. And of course, we must remember John Michel, who rediscovered the circle of perpetual choirs
well, yeah,
in the early 70s.
really, he's like the grandfather of Earth Mysteries, John Michel. And it was when I got the Earth Stars book that I read about the circle of choirs, and he was referencing John Michel. So I immediately went out and bought John Michel's City of Revelation.
That's right.
And then
Yeah.
Chris Street later renamed his updated version of Earth Stars London City of Revelation,
Yes.
with a foreword, an amazing foreword by John Michel.
You couldn't
Yeah, John
make it up,
Michel
could
was
you?
not only the grandfather of Earth Mysteries, he's something of a brilliant writer, one of the best writers I think Britain has ever produced.
I totally agree. Yeah. I sometimes really miss John Michel's writing because I think if he was alive now, my God, what he'd be writing about. There's a fantastic book that he did called Writings and Rants of a Radical Traditionalist. I recommend everyone get a copy of that. And it was short essays that were collected from his column in the Oldie magazine. And it's just
Right.
the brilliance of his writing, I think, is is unmatched. But he left a legacy, and in a sense, we're continuing it. People like Hugh Newman are continuing it, um, and and many of us have taken them, as you beautifully said. There's a baton, a golden baton that was passed to us by Hamish Miller and Chris Street and John Michel and these Colin Bloyer, these great people, Guru Dave, and we're doing our best. We've got that baton, and this is part of this for me with KindaSound is us sharing this out. And the beauty is that it will go on all of the podcasts, and as long as there's the internet, people will be able to access it and hear this golden thread being passed to them, and maybe they will say, I met this guy, this Hare Krishna guy at this festival, and he told me about this perpetual choirs and chanting and this divine bliss, and now I'm, just like we've done, just like
Yeah.
we've dedicated so much of our lives to this, to our practicing it ourselves and sharing it. So people listening now, look, we're passing you this golden baton.
Yeah. Yeah. Just hearing about these things is purifying. We're actually, this is like healing the airwaves, and it's more powerful. God's holy name is the most powerful force that exists, and it pervades the airwaves. It's said actually that when you chant the holy name, that sound resounds back and forth throughout the entire universe, back and forth 7 times.
Yeah.
It's beyond time and space, but
Yes.
it's having a purifying effect. So, you think that you're doing something small, you're just quietly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. But it's actually said that quiet chanting, 10 times more powerful than that, is if you loudly chant, if you sing it out loud, Hare Krishna, but that is 100 times more powerful. But 100 times more powerful than that is Harinam Sankirtan.
Yes. Yes.
Sankirtan means congregational chanting.
Yes.
So when a group of people get together and chant, they're actually this is 10,000 times more potent than just chanting Hare Krishna on beads quietly to yourself, which is itself potent. So it has an amazingly powerful, this is the blessing of the Lord by his
It,
grace.
it is. It is the blessing
And
of the Lord.
when a lot of people get together, and especially in the company of a pure devotee like my spiritual master, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj or Swami Prabhupada, or any of the, these are rare souls, but the
Yes.
line continues, that they wouldn't be masters if they couldn't raise disciples up to their own level.
Sure.
And you never become equal to your spiritual master, but by his blessing, he raises you up
He does.
so that you can help other people.
That's right.
I don't feel that I can take people to a high level. I couldn't, bestow upon you your eternal spiritual identity because I haven't realized my own. That's not humility. I just haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm aspiring for. But
Yeah.
someone like my Gurudev, he could just simply give it. But they won't give. Krishna won't give when he comes in the form of guru. He won't give until he sees 100% commitment, 100% surrender, that you've given up all material interests, you've given up all sinful activities. Like Jesus said in the Bible, therefore be ye perfect.
Yeah.
Become perfect. And all right, it's a very, very big requirement. And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, well, look, you make the effort and I'll carry what you lack.
Yeah.
So, if you make it to 50,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
60%, but that's the best you can give, he'll make up the
He'll,
rest.
the
Just say,
guru.
I can see, we're all wicked sinners down here. We're a bunch of crooks, aren't we? This is a big prison.
Well, we're doing our bit, aren't we? We're trying to stay out of trouble as much as we can, chatting to you. Now, Madan, we just got a couple of minutes left. So just if people want to connect more to some of these projects that you've launched, can you just like run off some of the names maybe where people, I know you've set up some Facebook groups and pages and things where people can find, or websites or anything?
Wizardsofom.com.
Wizardsofom.com. Beautiful.
Neo, which stands for New Earth Olympics, neo2012.co.uk.
Beautiful.
That's my two websites. On Facebook, Walking the Song Lines.
Yeah, Walking the Song Lines on Facebook.
That's on Facebook, yeah. And that's got a lovely map at the top of Chris Street's Earth Stars map next to the twin circles of perpetual choirs, that famous map that we've used many times.
Yes.
I have a podcast called, this is on Spotify, it's called London Revelation.
London Revelation. So check out, if you type in Madan Mohan Das, London Revelation, you've got some fantastic shows on there. I mean, the wizardsofom.com, what a name for a website, first of all, but incredibly beautiful website that you've put together. I mean, that is just it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And do connect to Madan if you fancy it. Mabfest, over to you, mate.
The other one, Giles, is Pirate Kirtan. This is like my baby because I want to launch a band called the Wizards of Om, and what we'll be singing is what I call Pirate Kirtan, and it's basically taking pop songs, like Bohemian Rhapsody or whatever, but making it into a song about Krishna.
Beautiful.
Glorifying the Lord, taking the familiar and bringing in the unfamiliar. So I've got Queen, David Bowie, Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, you name it. Anything big and famous I've got. So yeah, sorry, that's my phone ringing.
It's Krishna on the phone. It's Krishna. He's saying, look, he's saying Pirate Kirtan. Well, I tell you what, when you're in this part of the world, come to the studio here, come to Perpetual Studios, and let's record a song.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's record a song of the Pirate Kirtan, the Wizards of Om band. I mean, absolutely. I'd love to be a backing singer.
Well, the idea
maybe play a bit of guitar in the band. Maybe play a bit of acoustic guitar.
The idea is that it will be a musical collective. I'm more of a writer than a singer, but you've got talent with the guitar. You sing, and so I want it to be a choir, basically, a whole big bunch of people.
Brilliant.
So I'm hoping at the Madfest that we can have a little big sing song, and maybe get together with some of the bands there.
100%. I think if you got some flyers with Wizards of Om on it on the website, people can look at it and say, just come and join the band, come and join the musical collective, because it's a fantastic idea. We've spoken about, people are startled by the familiar. So that is absolutely amazing. So just final thoughts from you, mate, before this this call goes. They say, the Mission Impossible thing, the old Zoom.
Well, if you want to be happy, just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I can't tell you how it works, but I can tell you after 40 years of chanting, it works.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Madan. It's been a wonderful chat, my friend. Really fantastic information, as always. KindaSounders, I hope you've enjoyed this interview today. And keep it KindaSound. Do check out, if you just search KindaSound on your favorite podcast provider. I don't know, there's thousands of episodes. I mean, I think myself I've done about 300 or something, 200 or 300. So but thousands of episodes from people out there, including many with my good friend here, Madan. Well, God bless you. Look, the website wizardsofom.com. Check it out. Let's chant the holy name. Let's heal the world. God bless you all.